Advaita, or non-duality. It's one of the most profound teachings in all of philosophy. And today, we're going to unravel it, but not with some dense academic text. Instead, we're going to start with something you've all seen, a whirlpool in a river. You'll see how this one simple metaphor can unlock a powerful two-step method for understanding the very nature of reality, and more importantly, the nature of you.
All right, so let's just dive right in. And I mean that literally. I want you to forget about philosophy for a second and just picture a whirlpool. You've seen one, right? In a river, maybe a bathtub drain. It seems like a thing. It has a presence. But what is it, really? Let's take a closer look at how we usually see it.
You know, when you're looking at a river, a whirlpool just jumps out at you. We even give it a name, whirlpool. It's got that specific spinning vortex shape. It looks powerful, doesn't it? Like it's a separate force of nature. I mean, if you were a swimmer caught in it, it would feel like a very real, very separate, and frankly, very dangerous thing, completely distinct from the rest of the river. It has its own identity.
Okay, so that way of seeing the whirlpool as a separate thing in the river, that is a perfect metaphor for how we naturally experience our own lives. The teaching of Advaita knows this. It says this is everyone's starting point. Living in a world of unquestioned duality, a world of two.
Think about it. Our default setting is this kind of triangular experience. There's me, the subject, the one doing the seeing. Then there's the world out there full of separate objects that I'm looking at. And then, of course, there's the actual act of seeing, connecting the two. We just automatically think of ourselves as this limited person, a body and a mind experiencing a world of other separate things. This is our ground zero. Now, what's so brilliant about this teaching is that it doesn't just show up and say, hey, you're wrong. No, it meets you right where you are, and it leads you forward with a really precise two-step method. The first step is called adhyāropa, which means you actually deliberately superimpose an even clearer duality. Then comes step 2, apavāda, which systematically takes it all away.
So let's get into step 1. And honestly, it's a bit of a curveball. Instead of trying to break down the walls between you and the world, the teaching actually asks you to build them up even higher. It asks you to make the division even sharper.
So, the teaching tells you, look at your experience and draw a really firm line in the sand. On one side, you have the Seer. That's you, the pure subject, the consciousness that is simply aware. On the other side, everything else. And I mean everything. The entire universe, the room you're in, your own body, your thoughts, your feelings. All of that is the seen. The Seer is conscious, the seen is inert. The Seer has no qualities, the seen is full of them. So the whole point of this first step is to hammer home one incredibly powerful idea. You are the witness, the silent, pure experiencer of everything that happens. You are not your body, you are not your mind, you are not your emotions. You are the awareness of them. So the first message is this radical act of disidentification. You are none of the things you can possibly observe. But then, just as we've built this seemingly unbreakable wall between the seer and the seen, this is where the teaching does this brilliant pivot. Step 2 arrives to knock that entire wall down and show you something completely unexpected. The teaching now asks a totally new kind of question. Okay, we've separated the subject from the object, but hang on, does the object, the seen, actually have any reality of its own? I mean, think about a clay pot. Is there any pot stuff in it, or is it just clay that has the name and form of a pot?
Or here's an even better one. A wave in the ocean. The wave has a name, it has a form, but it has zero substance of its own. It's nothing but water, right? If you take away the water, there's no wave left. The pot, the wave, they're just names and forms appearing on an underlying substance.
And this is where it all comes together. The entire universe of seen objects, everything from distant galaxies to your own passing thoughts, is just like that wave. It has no independent substance. It is simply a temporary name and form appearing in the one, single underlying substance of consciousness. And that consciousness, the teaching reveals, is you.
Whoa.
Okay. Let's just pause here for a second, because this creates a huge paradox, right? In step 1, you were told flat out, you are none of these things. Now, in step 2, you're being told you are all of these things. It sounds like a total contradiction.
So what gives? How on earth can both of those statements be true at the same time? Is this some kind of philosophical trick?
Well, no. The answer, the key that unlocks this whole puzzle, lies in one single crucial concept.
And that concept is mithya. Now, mithya doesn't just mean unreal or an illusion. It's more subtle than that. It means something is apparently real as a distinct form, but it has no independent existence apart from its substance. The wave is the perfect example of mithya. It's real as an experience, for sure, but its reality is 100% dependent on the water. You can't count the water and the wave as two separate things.
And boom, this resolves the paradox perfectly. When the teaching says I am none of these, it means I am not any of the separate temporary forms. I'm not the wave, not the pot, not the body, not the thought. But when it says I am all of these, it means I am the one and only real substance. I'm the water, I'm the clay, I'm the consciousness, in which all of those forms appear and then disappear.
Okay, so let's bring this all the way back to our whirlpool and see what this shift in understanding actually feels like. What does it really mean to stop identifying as the whirlpool and to realize, fundamentally, that you are the water?
So here's the mapping. The whirlpool, with its feeling of being a separate, struggling individual, that's the jiva. The river, that constant, churning flow of life's events and experiences, that's samsara. And the water, the one single substance that makes up both the whirlpool and the river, that's the one non-dual reality. That's consciousness itself.
Now, a whirlpool that doesn't know this, an ignorant whirlpool, believes it's a separate thing. So what does it do? It fights the current. It fears being swallowed up by the river. It lives in this constant low-grade anxiety about its own end, its own dissolution. Its life is defined by struggle and fear, all because it identifies with its fragile, temporary form.
But a whirlpool that has this understanding, an enlightened whirlpool, it knows, deep down, I am the water. Now, the form of the whirlpool might keep going for a while, spinning and playing in the river, but that deep existential terror is gone. Why? Because it knows its real identity is the entire river. It can enjoy the dance of its own unique form without being terrified of that form ending, because the substance itself is eternal.
And that's the whole point. Liberation isn't about the whirlpool suddenly vanishing. The world of experience keeps going. Liberation is that profound, fundamental shift in your identification. It's moving your sense of I am from the temporary, fragile form of the whirlpool to the permanent, all-encompassing reality of the water.
So this two-step journey takes us from a world that seems to be made of two, me and everything else, to the staggering realization of not two. And it leaves us with one final thought to chew on. A whirlpool that knows it's the water isn't afraid of dissolving back into the river. It just sees it as returning to its own vast nature. So, what about you?